Alright, some students are asking me a couple of questions about, are there any other hints or tips to figure out where to start? So the first question is, class, is this in a full rotation? Is this between 0 and 2 pi? Yes. So I don't need a coterminal angle. I don't need a coterminal angle because it's in one full rotation. There's a couple of ways you can digest this problem. You can work with radians. That's one way. The second way is you can convert this using into degrees. You can use your awesome proportion, right? Degrees over 360 equals radians over 2 pi. Or, if you think about it, this is how I just think about it. Half of a circle is pi. And half of a circle is 180 degrees. Let me show that to you. So essentially I'm just kind of like summary of the awesome proportion to convert it from radians to degrees. A full circle is 2 pi or 360 degrees. Half of that is pi, which is 180. So essentially pi is equal to 180. They're in the same position. So if I take pi is equal to 180, 180 divided by 3 is 60. 60 times 2 is 120. Tangent of 2 pi over 3 and tangent of 120 degrees are the same. Raise your hand if you convert it into degrees. Let me work with radians. Maybe that's something you guys rather see. So if I draw myself a circle. Classes count in radians. Let's count in radians. Ready, set, go. I need denominators of 3, but you might as well just make it, you can double it. I would just make it 4 pi over 6. So if I multiply by 3 over 3, here I get 4 pi over 3 pi over 6. And this one will become 6 pi over 6. So this is 0 pi over 6. This is 3 pi over 6. This is 6 pi over 6. 4 pi over 6 is like right here. Draw my triangle. Here's my ray. Last week we learned about this is our theta. Theta here is 4 pi over 6. I need to find my reference angle, or theta prime. If this is 4 and this is getting to 6, then inside is what? Theta prime is equal to 2 pi over 6 or what? Pi over 3. So one way of what we practice is finding not just the reference angle, but once we now have the reference angle, can I figure out which type of special right triangle? Again, at this time, you can either convert it into degrees, or you could convert it into degrees earlier. So again, if this is 120 degrees, class, how much is this angle going to be in this situation? This triangle is going to be a 60-degree triangle. Raise your hand if you got a 30, 60, 90. Okay. The reason why it's a 30, 60, 90 is because if I can convert this into degrees, this is 120. This reference angle, pi over 3, is essentially 60. Class, always, always, always across the 60 is what? What is it? 1, 2, or radical 3? Radical 3. Over here is a 30. It's getting kind of squished. Across the 30 will always be a 1. In this case, it'll be a negative 1. And then in this case, your R value is 2. We're asked to find tangent. Partner B whisper to partner A, what is tangent in terms of X, Y, and R? KVP? Y over X. So I just need radical 3 over a negative 1. And then my answer, if you simplify that, that would become negative radical 3. Raise your hand if you got that. So remember, you can always check your answer. Class, what is the acronym that tells you that trig functions are positive? On count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All take calculus. So here in quadrant 2, what does the S represent? Sine and its reciprocal, which is cosecant, are positive. Everything else, including tangent, is negative. Now you might be asking, Mr. Ng, this is the unit circle. You told me 1 unit. How come the radius here is 2? The answer is that you would actually divide all of these by 2. What that does is you'll still get the answer of negative radical 3, but it basically makes your radius 1. And then you'll get an order pair, which you'll see on the unit circle. Let's try the second one. Let me show you this one just by using degrees. Sine is 3. Class pi is how many degrees? 180. So I know that sine is 3 times here. This becomes 90. So we already knew that 3 times 90 is how much? 270 degrees. So if I draw where 270 degrees is, class, tell me in degrees from here. 0. Class, do I need a coterminal angle here? No, because I end up right there. Class, if it lands on a quadrantal angle on one of the axes, what's my order pair? The distance is 1. So what's my order pair? 0, negative 1. My x, y, and then my r value will always be what? 1. Sine is which two letters? Y over r. So that gives us negative 1 over 1, and then our answer is negative 1. So again, I'm trying to show you guys ways to evaluate trig functions without using the unit circle. This is deriving it. It looks like a little bit more work, but then you don't have to memorize the whole unit circle.